Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live. What up? Chris Benninger, how you doing, buddy? Scott Luckoff. Robert Murray, Larry Schultz. What is going on, guys? Lane Graves in the house. Carlisle. How are you, Carlisle? Johnny Kopp, man, the myth, the legend. Joseph Cascarino, how are you, Joe? Man, it would not be Tackle Shop Live without you, brother. I thank you for stopping by. Ed Rignasti, same goes to you, buddy. Jeff Santangelo, same goes to you, Jeff Santangelo. All you guys won't be the same without you guys. Robert Mills, Joshua Reinbrenner, how are you, Joshua? Good to see you, pal. Yeah. Matthew Weimer, yo, buddy. Jeremy Macbeth, Fitz Torpey. Matthew Weimer is saying it again. Oh, that's right. You know just what I feel. Amy Lynn, what's up? LP Bass, boom, in the house. That's right. Gio Miller, Robert Bretz, how is everybody doing tonight? You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine.
But you know what, George? Whatever makes him feel good.
That's right.
Because his football team sure ain't doing it.
Feeling the groove, though.
That's a bunch of crap, Nick.
Feeling the beat.
Nick, why you have to bring that into it?
Well, I got to get in a dig every once in a while.
Oh, you wait, buddy. The season's early. The season's
For those
young.
of you who aren't aware,
The season is young, my friend.
Mike here is a big Jets fan.
Yeah.
You make me smile when I think of you.
Yes. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tackle Shop Live. My name is Mike Acorn. This is George Acorn. Behind the camera is cameraman Nick, and we come to you live every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. And we love to talk fishing, we love to talk technique, and we love to talk tackle. We appreciate all you guys every week stopping in and seeing us and sharing this hour with us, or hour and a half or 2 hours if George gets long-winded, which he always does.
Just a little.
And so, bro, we've been busy here at the shop. We've been busy, Nick. Busy. We've been working on a project for a long time, and we've been kind of hitting around for it for a long time. And so we put a new POS system in the shop, and an ERP back end kind of thing. And George and I have been pulling our hair out trying to learn it and figure it out. And it's great because it's exciting after 30 some years to move to the next level in technology. But at the same time, we're fishermen. We're fishermen.
Yeah. Well,
and what we want to do is
we have forward-facing sonar.
But we're fishermen, and all we really got into this for is just spread fishing knowledge and that kind of thing. And all of a sudden, we're thrown into this technology world, and it's so
Pull.
Man, I'm not kidding you guys, man. Since Wednesday of last week, we've been working around the clock on this project, and we're finally getting really close to it. But for you guys, the other cool thing is we launched a brand new website.
Oh,
and we're super proud of it. There's just, and as with anything new, there's some tweaking that we're doing, and we're doing it every single day, but we got it really
glitches.
Yeah, we got it really super close right now. And we wanted to tell you, because I can't stand to wait anymore. I want you guys to check out our new website, sfttackle.com. It is state of the art. It has a unbelievable search engine on it, which everybody said about our old site that the search was terrible. We fixed that. We got a unbelievable search engine on there, and we have a unbelievable checkout process, which is super quick and super fast, and it remembers you. And as a customer, it treats you like a customer. You can go back, you can look at your purchases over time. You can see where your package is at. You can track your package. You can follow your package through the whole process right to your house. It's really, truly state of the art. And it's something that we're very, very proud of. And that we worked really hard on, and it's only going to get better. We're going to tie it all into some really cool stuff. And it's just going to be something that we can, and Nick, we hired a blog writer. And this guy is cool as hell, and he's a fishing nut, and he's like George and I at least live around here, and he's going to write.
He never lived around.
He's going to write some really cool blogs for us. There's going to be an updated blog post in there all the time. George and I are going to write a few things and put it in. He's going to take care of all that for us. And
I will say this: I've known Pete for long time. Can't even remember.
I wouldn't say since we opened, but pretty damn close after that.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna put him at like he's like a 30-year veteran customer.
Yeah.
I've fished with Pete.
Yeah.
Pizza. So this guy that's gonna be writing blogs, like there's a lot of fishing people that write blogs, but you'd be better off with AI. This guy is like a tournament, like old school tournament guy, old school bass head.
Yeah.
He's originally from up around Oneida Lake, and he grew up fishing, that region.
Yeah. All the Finger Lakes. And
then he moved to North Carolina.
Yeah.
And learned that whole region, which is like,
he was there for 10 years or so.
It's like the heartland.
Yeah.
And now he's back up north. And, whenever him and his dad are in the hood, they stop in and see us. And we catch up on old times, and they buy a big old basket full of tackle. And this time he came in and he wanted to do a little shopping, and he got,
Mike got
a hold of him.
And George and I were like, listen,
we've been looking for you.
We now are ready for you, brother. And he's going to do some great stuff. So he's going to be some great information on there. Great
stuff. The guy writes for major publications. You've read his work before.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for our new superstar blog writer, Pete Anderson. And we're very proud to have him affiliated with the group. Again, back in the day when we were first playing around, when Al Gore invented the internet, we jumped on with SFT Tackle 0.0.
0.0, yeah.
Now we're on SFT Tackle 3.0.
Yeah.
We did 1.0, 2.0. Now we're on 3.0.
Yeah.
And Al said it was going to work. And God damn it, between that and global warming, we're looking good.
Yeah. So, bear with us for some of the little small glitches that are still in there. We're working through it real hard. But we thought, it's so close right now that you might as well just go in there and check it out because it's beautiful. We're really proud of it. It's a beautiful site. And it's to see what's to come from us in the future.
We spent a shit ton of money on all this stuff. You could just force a few orders through. That'd be great too.
Well, you know what, guys, you guys should be proud of it because, you go on there and it's super clean. Yeah. I mean, it's really nice.
Yeah.
Really easy to navigate. I think they're going to like it a lot.
Well, the SFT family and the SFT team has grown over the years. We have a crew here that's a family we're so proud of. And this is on the national scheme of things, this might not seem like a big deal, but for the SFT crew, it's a big deal, and we're proud as hell to show it to you. So, anyways, check it out, sfttackle.com.
Yep.
You're going to love it.
Yep.
And feel free to place, orders that are larger than you normally would place, just out of pity. And we'll ship them out immediately for you. All orders that you don't need will be shipped tomorrow. Or my name's not George.
Yeah.
And
So, that's great. That's great stuff. And the other thing too that I want you guys to understand is that Tackle Shop Live is going to continue for a long time. We're all fired up. We're fired up on it. We have a plan that we're going to set in place for all of us guys to really produce some great stuff for you and have some great shows with some great content, and for all you newbies that are out there that are just checking in with us, we do this to help you catch more fish. That's what we want to do. That's what it's all about. We love taking questions. We love answering you guys. You can email us. You can jump on our Facebook page and ask us questions, or any of our social media, which I encourage you to do, and definitely sign up for our emails. We do things on all different platforms, and we want you guys to be informed, and we want to help you out. We want to make sure you guys catch more fish. That's what it is. George and I are very fortunate, and Nick, that we get to deal with some of the greatest fishing people in the world, and we talk to them, we pick their brain, we fish with them, and we've learned this is,
take the extremely large salary away from it. Let's not even talk about that. Just from what we get to do and who we get to fish with on a regular basis. It's cool, and we learn and we share. And it's almost like a cult, like a commune. It sounds like something that would be going. Well, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Let me rewind the tape there.
Yeah, jeez. That's kind of crazy stuff. But it's what we've always done here in the shop, and it's how we've always wanted to be. We've always wanted to be free with our information, and we've always wanted to make sure that everybody learns something and wants to catch more fish. That's what this show is all about, and we're going to continue that for years to come. And Nick is along for the ride for sure. And Nick, how do you feel about everything coming forward and up to this point and everything like that?
Oh, I'm super pumped up. I told you guys this, a long time. As fishing is moving forward and we're seeing advances in everything, the thing that stays constant is the love and passion for it.
Yeah.
And when I got to join you guys, along with everybody else you have on the team, everybody shares that.
Yeah.
And I think as we grew our viewer base and our listener base, they all share that.
Yeah.
And we just got to keep growing that dream and passion for fishing.
Well, we're all fishing junkies, and a lot of us are bass junkies. But fishing is the whole thing, and bassing is our passion. We love it. We do all kinds of fishing, but bassing's our passion, and that's what we love to talk about. And I'm glad you guys are along for the ride. So let's get this show rolling. And we love to call this section, and we love it, it's called Tackle Talk. All right, George, this is Tackle Talk. We love talking tackle. What do you have for us installed today?
Well, I didn't get too crazy today. I was involved in meetings all day, and I'm getting ready for this big election coming up. I had some stuff to do there.
Oh yeah.
So my time was at a premium today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep it short and sweet, but I got some stuff here that really fits the bite in a lot of the country. And, the first thing is wake baits. I think the wake bait is one of the most underutilized, underrated power fishing baits, period. You can have, we always talk about the little bitty, Shimano Macbeth shallow runner. They call it the shallow runner. It's actually a wake bait. And the calling power that has. And then we go up to some big, rats, some big rat style swim bait, wake baits, from 4 to 7 inches and, from 1 to 4 ounces, and that's on the extreme. Well, back in the day,
been a bit.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I'm gonna say it's been like in the early to mid 2000s. I'm gonna say like 2004, 5, 6. Strike King, who's a world leader in tackle, and was back then, had a bait called the King Shad, and they had a model called the Wake Shad. And, you know, it was a jointed, the king shad was a jointed swim bait, way ahead of its time.
Yeah.
And the wake shad obviously was a wake version of that, way ahead of its time. And those techniques were just kind of in their infant stage around the bass community, other than some pockets. So now we have Wake Shad 2.0, and I'm super excited about this. As a matter of fact, all the guys here at the shop are super excited about it. They've already,
you ain't kidding.
They've already bought
they
filled up every slot in their tackle box because these kind of baits are deadly right now.
Yeah.
They call fish up. We're having a very warm spell, mild fall all around the country. And it's prolonging the early fall bite.
Yeah.
Which involves the effectiveness of a wake bait. So, I mean, we have the Wake Shad 2.0, okay, jointed, obviously. You can see the completely up and down vertical position of the wide lip. So you're getting a hunting action out of this bait, random hunting action. You can fish this bait as a true wake bait all day long. You can also bury your rod tip and fish it as what I would call baby 1- style. Okay. We have 2 number 4 trebles on here. Jointed body, 3/4 of an ounce, 4-inch. So it's not that big of a bait.
How are those hooks, George? Nice.
They're not bad. I mean, you know, you're not getting like the most top of the line premium. You know, we've talked about this a lot. It's a great question.
Yeah.
You know, back not that long ago, you just immediately ripped the hooks off of everything you bought and changed them out.
Yeah.
Like just sell them without the hooks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a decent hook.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's
well, they've used good hooks on a lot of their crankbaits lately. And
yeah, I mean, this is so, you know, I'm a hooky kind of guy. I mean, I'm all about. I would take this out of the box and fish it.
Yeah.
All day long. You know, this is the same exact hook that's on the 2.5 wake crankbait that they make in the KVD line.
Yeah.
Same exact hook. And I've caught a pile of fish on that crankbait.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this. They don't resharpen worth a damn. So when they are dinged up, have a pack of your favorite hook along. Mine's going to be a round bend gummy because I'm an old school guy like that. But listen, we live in a day where, I mean, we got the pick of hooks.
Yeah.
So if you argue hooks till the cows come home, you know what? If you like it, I love it.
Yeah.
So this color right here is my favorite. Not that matters to anybody. It's called Mirage IU. And I plan on
good, you know, shaddy, you know, kind of color, man. It covers everything.
I plan on demonstrating the greatness of this bait on Sunday.
I saw how you opened it up. I knew that package wasn't going back out there.
So if you're fishing on Sunday, I want you to practice.
You know what I really like about
this?
Yeah. Okay. I'll be that
kind
man.
Of like digging dirt, but really what you're doing is running a net.
Listen. I'm not big headed. I am a great net man. As long as fish are coming, and Nick knows this.
He's a hell of a net man.
You know this. As long as fish are coming in the freaking boat, I don't care who's catching them.
Well,
you know,
that's good to know. Because I can tell you how Sunday's going down with my new wake shed.
But let me tell you something about that bait, George. The size of that bait is very, very versatile for a large period of time, not just the fall period, although it's going to shine from here on out for a couple good, maybe a month or so. It's going to shine like crazy, but it's a bait that you can throw a lot of different times of the year because that size is very irresistible. I always loved it about that bait. We've had some, I think we have some old ones in the boat.
Oh yeah,
some of the originals that are hook worn and beat up.
They did well,
and it's the size of that. It's not the big giant bait. It's not this. You can throw it on a lot of different rods, right, Nick?
It's a 4-inch bait. So here's a Vision 110 for a length comparison.
Yeah. So it's you can throw it on a lot of different rods. You can fish it a lot of different ways, over top of grass, over top of rock. You know, you can fish it just open water. And I'll tell you another thing. If you find schooling fish, which is the time of year for schooling fish, you throw that thing out there, you're going to get bit. Period. You're going to get bit. You're going to eat it. It's the perfect size. That's what they're eating. They're starting to pick up on this little bit bigger bait, but not giant stuff. And this thing is deadly for a lot of your year of fishing.
Yeah.
You know, when we were at ICAST, this bait here was funny because we were doing interviews and getting content. And all the pros at Strike King were like, why did they ever stop this line? And it made me kind of chuckle a little bit when George said about great bait, wrong time.
Yeah.
And that happens sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, now I got to ask you real quick. Can you think of another bait that you've seen in all the years you've been doing this that was the right bait, but wrong time and then maybe came back?
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of people in the audience have fished these baits. First and foremost, the sweet beaver.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you could not sell them.
Couldn't give them away. Georgia almost put us out of business buying sweet beavers.
I mean, I got hooked up with the guys at Reaction in their heyday. So the way I got exposed to Reaction Innovations, there was a bass magazine that was focused on the Western U.S. It's kind of relaunched now. It's called Bass Angler Magazine, but back in those days,
it was a big deal.
It was kind of like, you know, the West Coast bass fishery. Like once you got west of the Mississippi River, it was just like
different.
And it was just emerging. It was an emerging fishery, a market. You know, Aaron Martin's, Skeet Reese.
Yeah. Even before those guys, though, really.
Robert Lee.
Yeah, they were just youngsters.
And that's what drove.
And hammers.
That's what drove that market out there, and that's what drove. Like, you know, I would search this magazine out because I was following, you know, Aaron Martin's from day one, drop shotting from day one. I was following Skeet Reese from day one. I mean, he was a Lucky Craft guy literally from day one.
Yeah.
And I was following his cranking techniques. He's always been a crankbait guy. Robert Lee, the flipping guy. I mean, a lot of you guys won't even know that name.
Rich Tauber.
I mean, he's
a hammer from back.
He's even before that.
Yeah, he's before that. Even.
He was even before that magazine.
Yeah.
But what happened was I got exposed to Reaction Innovations in that magazine. And I'm like, you know, these baits are like, I mean, today every soft plastics manufacturer
copied it.
Brings out beyond that they bring out.
Yeah.
Every soft plastics manufacturer today brings out like just off the wall, absurd. And if you don't have the chops to back it up, I mean, it's just like, I mean, you just might as well be called Alibaba. If you can't back it up. Well, these guys backed it up because they had Robert Lee, who won 3 Bassmaster events in a row on their Boom Boom tube, which, by the way, they don't even make anymore.
I know. It kills me.
They had a 4-inch and a 5-inch, and he was flipping it.
5-inch was badass, man.
So we learned about the sweet beaver, and we learned about another bait they don't make called the ball breaker. And you know, there was like cover shots on the magazine of these baits. There was no internet. There was no social media. This was it. So, you know, if you were like a hardcore crazy bass guy, and I'm sure a lot of you on here saw all this.
Oh, I guarantee you, lime green bass fishing machine for sure.
You were sucked in. So we got involved with that company. Problem was nobody out here knew anything about it. And they didn't want nothing to do with it. So to answer your question in a long-winded way, the sweet beaver was one of them.
Yeah.
Like, Now,
it took 3 years for people to catch on to it.
Now,
In the east, on the east side.
When Andre won the FLW Open on Beaver Lake, which, by the way, you might want to get your mind right, Bobby, because Sweet Beaver is named after Beaver Lake. But when he won that tournament, that's how he got the name for the bait.
Yeah.
And then the next year he won it again, because every year the FLW Tour regular stop schedule was on Beaver Lake, which is in the town where Walmart is headquartered, because Walmart was stroking the checks back then.
Mm-hmm.
So they always had that tournament in perpetual.
Mm-hmm.
And Andre won it with the Sweet Beaver. The next year he won it with the Smalley Beaver. And again, it's named after Beaver Lake. So, that was ahead of its time, and it wasn't until he won those tournaments that anybody bought it. On the East Coast. I'm sure on the West Coast is a different situation. But here on the East Coast, that bait was way ahead of its time.
But that's really cool, because as we look at this this wake bait here, there's really not a whole lot of options in that size range.
No, this is a little different because it went away and then it stayed away for so long, and now they brought it back. I mean, it was it was kind of disappointing for us in where we're at here. It was a hot thing, and when they discontinued it was like, oh shoot, man, it was a situation, but
it is funny because when you are at ICAST and the cameras are off,
yeah,
and you start to hear the real talk,
yeah,
and you hear the pros going, I don't know why the heck they ever got away from that, because they were so excited for that to come back.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. That was one of those baits.
Yeah. For sure.
It was just ahead of its time. And the wake bait thing comes and goes. Wake baits have been around forever, and the popularity of them, ebbs and flows. Right now, wake baits are a thing.
They're definitely on an uptick.
And a lot of the wake baits that are being used are not new baits.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, some manufacturers have ceased manufacturing and or making available their wake baits because they fell out of popularity and the sales dipped. Well, timing's everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And their timing wasn't too good because wake baits are
back.
They're
I'm back, baby.
They're skyrocketing. The rat category is back up on another high. It's on round 2. And the smaller crankbait category, and now this bait right here is going to get it done. So that is my first item for you tonight, guys.
Bill, George, here's a new one. Bill Milford. I'm going to make fun of you, Bill Millard. Bruce Millard. I'm sorry, Bruce Millard. He says,
"You want to practice his name somewhere?"
I couldn't see it. I have a spot in my on my glasses. Bruce Millard says, "Goofy me. He thought the Sweet Beaver was because of the tail looks like beaver teeth."
Well, I can appreciate that.
I can't even see how you would ever think that Bruce. That's why I'm going to call you Bill from now on.
That's a little strong.
It's a little strong.
Yeah.
It's a little strong.
A little strong.
All right, Bruce.
Might want to back her down.
I'll take a look at it. I'll take a look at it tomorrow, and I'll see if I concur. I never heard that before. That's a new one.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nick?
I'm just saying.
That's a little strong.
It's a little strong. I'm going to call him Bill.
You want to reset?
Bill, the beaver teeth guy.
You want to reset? Okay.
We love you, buddy. We love you.
I just don't.
I'm telling you, I had a stressful week, Nick. I had a stressful week so far. Very stressful,
dude.
Well, it was stressful. You say the stupidest shit all the time, and now you're getting on me about it?
No, my stuff is gold. Pure gold.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you say some really off the wall stuff, and I just go along with it.
Well,
why can't you just go along with what I said?
That was not cool.
I didn't make fun of Bruce.
No, it wasn't
I just
bad. It was
busted on him.
It wasn't that funny.
Hey, listen, if you don't have thick skin watching this show,
what
do we say? There's 3 exits. You could take any single one of them.
All right. So,
here it is. Everybody wants to see it.
Oh, here we go.
All right, let's see. So beaver teeth, huh? I mean, you tell me, Nick. Yeah, maybe. I kind of. No.
I got news for you. That's probably.
Sorry, Bruce. I don't. Well, I mean, kind of, but their beaver teeth will be squared off down here. No, I don't see it.
I got news for you.
Just busting on you, buddy. That's all. It's all good, bro.
That's probably the best.
Yeah.
Flipping bait. Period.
I mean, honestly, people don't even.
When it comes to flipping grass, when it comes to flipping wood, definitely grass.
Here, Nick, I'll hold it like this. This freaking thing. How many fish you catch on this in your lifetime, George?
I mean, they don't.
Seriously.
It's just out of control.
I mean, how many bags have we gone through? Seriously.
I mean, it's out of control. I remember one time I was in a multi-day event, and that was my bait.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was not quite that color. It was a color called Penetration, which is very much like it.
Right.
And I mean,
I know because I was back here working, holding the fort down while you're out there gallivanting around the country fishing all your tournaments.
I mean, I was
and
putting a beat
George
down
would call me up and he'd say, "Man, I need a red label, dude. I need 5 bags of this and 5 bags of that." And it was always sweet beavers, constantly, all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I was getting them.
Yeah, I mean, it was something else. And the thing is, that it was so good. They invented this bait, right, George?
Oh yeah,
they were the inventors of what is now called
the whole point.
The creature bait.
That's the whole point.
And this is the OG right here. This is the OG, and I still think to this day, if you really guys buy this bait, you'll see what this is all about with the reverse ribs and the tails and the body and everything about it. It's
well, no matter what one you use, everybody always calls it a beaver style bait.
Yeah,
and it's just the way it is.
Yeah,
it's one of those
things. I mean, I do fish other ones, but the sweet beaver has always been our number one favorite. Yep. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, we went way long on this, George.
Well, I was going to tell you about that. I was going to tell you about that tournament I was in with that bait. So we kind of sidetracked there, but reining it back in. It was the fish were eating it so violently that every time I set the hook, it split the head of the bait in half.
Yeah. No
matter what hook I used. They were just like.
Was it worse when you started snelling back in those days?
It was anytime you're fishing a straight shank flipping
hook,
you're
ripping them up.
That's maximum damage on baits.
Yeah. You're ripping them up.
But at that point, you're in a derby that's paying 50, 60K for first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I want to put a shout out. I want to put a shout out because I basically used everything I had down to the molecular level. And one of the guys that was in the tournament, who's a great guy who I was fishing with a lot back then, is JT Kenny. And he had a bucket in his boat. He was sponsored by Reaction. He had a bucket. And I went over to him and I said, "Hey, here's the deal." Him and I were sharing water also. I'm like, "Here's the deal. This is the color I'm using." He goes, "Color doesn't matter." And he picks this bucket. And this bucket was like not quite a 5-gallon bucket, but it was like a
2.5 gallon,
2.5, 3-gallon bucket.
Yeah.
And it was full to the top with sweet beavers. And he said, "I just dump them all in there and I reach in the bucket and grab one, and whatever one I get's what I use." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I kind of would like to have some of this penetration color if you have any
in the bucket."
And he's like, "I'll see what I can do for you." So, the second day of the tournament, the third day of the tournament, they cut to the final day, right? Well, he just missed it. And after the meeting, you go to the meeting and, it's all this FLW bullshit. And you come back up to your boat and you got to get your shit ready. Your rod's rigged and your.
So what you're saying, you made the final day?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
But
get your story straight.
Here's the cool part of the story. I jump up in my boat to start getting my stuff. I was just going to rig up right there in the parking lot. And I look down the floor of my boat, and there's like 6 or 8 bags of them baits thrown on the floor of the boat. So you know where they came from.
Yeah. That's
Old
cool.
JT hooked the brother up.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was I'll never forget that, because the other thing that happened in that particular tournament, the other cool thing that happened in that tournament was I lost a couple fish the first day. And I was fishing with a 4.0 Superline EWG Gamakatsu, which I love that hook for flipping.
Yeah.
And I lost a couple fish, and this was game day, and these were big fish, and it was Punch and Matt. And that night I went over to JT's boat. He was rigging rods, and I had my flipping stick, and I had my hook, and I'm like, dude, I need you to teach me how to snell. Because somehow I got it in my head that I have to snell. So he's like, okay. He takes my hook and he throws it in the woods. And he goes, that hook is shit. I'm like, dude. And he reaches down, he gets a pack of hooks out that Reaction later introduced as the BMF flipping hook.
Yeah.
This was a pre-introduction.
That's the other thing about Reaction. Their names are freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, this is the hook you want, and this is why, and this is how you snell.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so cool because, we were fishing against each other. We were sharing water. So hats off to JT on that.
George, I do got to throw in something. My brain kind of works a little different. I'm listening to your story.
You're a linear thinker.
And JT done messed up because he didn't listen to George. He had his bucket full of bait, said color didn't matter. Somebody made it to the final day.
Yeah.
Well,
color might have mattered.
Well, I'll tell you what, the way that works is when you're in them mats like that, and they're not huge mats, and those schools wander. And the cut day, that third day, when I took the boat off pad and pulled in there, I'll tell you what happened. This is how crazy of a day this was. I pulled into this, and I hope I'm not boring anybody. This is a fun story for me to tell. I pulled into this mat, and I had to pole my way in. It was so chunky. I had to push my push pole. And I had this kid who was my partner that day, draw partner, co-angler, young kid. And, me and him are just like cracking these fish. Every flip, I'm just jacking him. I hear JT over there yelling like, go, George, go, because I landed on him. It was just it was literally a coin flip. The mat's like 300 yards long and 100 yards wide. He pulled in at the wrong spot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, though.
Eventually, that whole school's going to swim his way. And I'm just beating these things down. This kid, he's like trying to adjust.
Yeah.
And he gets a rod with some braid, and he ties up this rig. I gave him some stuff. He ties this rig up. He flips out. He sets the hook, and the line breaks back at his reel because he's got like 30-pound braid, right? And all you see is like 30 feet of braid going like this across the top of this mat as this fish is trying to swim. And, the fish is under the mat. There's like 30, 40 feet of braid on top of the mat. And I'm on the push pole pushing the boat. And
trying to get it.
This kid's laying on the front deck.
Did he get it?
He got it.
Did you really?
He grabbed the line and hand lined the fish in.
I love it. That's a great
Put him
story.
in the live well, man. There ain't nothing. You didn't break any laws.
Yeah.
Put his ass in the live well.
Yeah.
So he got to weigh that fish in.
George is pushing at him. Push.
I was push poling. Push poling a bass boat is not like push poling a flats boat.
That's pretty cool, though.
Especially with all the grass and the
it's just this gargantuan mat. Like,
it's terrible.
It was the ultimate cheese mat.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Aaron, lawyer, are wake baits good in Florida?
You are 100% right on that. And I'll tell you what. I'm going to tell you when. Right ahead of your spawn. So you guys spawn down there 2-3 times, January, February, March, April. And, when those fish are coming up on the bed, so right ahead of your full moons in every one of them months, if you don't have a big cold front, get on them big old hydrilla flats that are, have hydrilla on them and a little bit of water over top. And I'll tell you what you think of. Let me ask you this question. Is a Smithwick Devil's Horse good in Florida? Oh, yes, it is. The double prop plate is a Florida killer. Well, this wake bait is in that category. So when you pull a double prop bait over spawning or pre-spawn fish, you get a reaction. And it's almost like a search bait because, you know, when you're on those big giant grass flats like that, those fish spawn in what I call colonies, for lack of a better term. They spawn in colonies. And, you know, you might find that colony with that prop bait. Well, you can also find that colony with this wake bait. And you can also work that whole area and define the area. You don't want to be flipping to do that. You want to be moving. You want to move that. You know, your plotter's going to kind of leave you a line of that grass edge because you can't really see it. That water's a little dingy. Mm-hmm. And this bait is calling those fish up, so you're getting the random bites there. So absolutely, if you got grass, pre-spawn through spawn, when those fish move up, the wake bait starts to play. It plays all summer.
Yeah.
And then it really accelerates again in the first period of fall, which we've been extended in now for a while.
It's going to stay that way too for a while for a lot of the country.
I hope it stays that way forever.
Yeah, it's kind of like a really good time right now to throw a wake bait, and that thing's really exciting to throw. We're excited about it. We like George said, when they came in, we were well, the real story is they came in about a week ago and we couldn't put them out because we were fighting with our website and fighting with all of our stuff, and we couldn't figure out how to get it all in there. But anyway, those boxes were stacked up. I mean, you know, ceiling high back there, and we were in there digging around. And I'm like, just get some of each of the color out. So he got them out, and we're digging around, and all the guys are in there digging around in it. You know, they're like, oh man, this is going to be great, you know? And when we were able to sell them, you know, the guys, you know, I'm telling you, they went nuts on them, man. All of our guys just went crazy on them.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
So it's all good. What else you got, George?
Well, I got a jig head for you. You know, I'm partial to my jig heads. And, you know, this is not necessarily a new jig head, but, you know, we're in that time of the year, like, where we're using the boot foot swim bait a lot. We're using it a lot. Okay. So what's the right jig head for that? Right. I mean, is it a ball head with a barb and collar? Of course it is. Is it like a conical keeper? Absolutely. In other words, what I'm trying to get at, there's no wrong jig head for that kind of a bait. But if you look real close at this one, there's a spring keeper on there, a spring lock. Okay, so we have obviously a VMC hook, mid-wire, 60-degree vertical eye.
Yeah.
3D holographic eye. You're doing a 4 count from 3/16, quarter, and 5/16. You're doing a 4 count for 449. And then 3/8 and half, you're going to do a 3 count. So we're going from 3/16 to a half, 5 sizes. So we can match almost any circumstance.
The beauty is the spring. It's your, you know, you're talking about different keepers. George said the collar keeper. George says the conical one, like that pops the bait up, the plastic up over the head. This is another style of keeper that really holds the bait well to the head, and it gives you multiple fish, you know, out of one jig. You know, even if it tears the back body part, you can still fish it very well on there.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to fish this with an Elastec type product.
No,
that's not going to work.
No.
But now somebody's going to come on here and say, "Oh, I use it with Elastec all the time."
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you also sit in your boat for 45 minutes a night to rig one, and that's fine if you have that kind of time. I mean, if you like it, I love it.
Did you ever try and screw a thing in there, Nick, before you knew any better?
Oh, I absolutely did, and it was a nightmare. That's
I
what
mean,
can
you know,
tell
you're fighting with this thing, but you didn't know any better.
No.
You're trying to do this, and you were lit the last tech, and then
That's all you had.
it was like, you know,
it ain't working.
it's not working.
It's not working up in here.
It's not working. And
Not up in here. Not up in here.
Not up in here.
Up in here.
I can tell you something though. With this jig head that George is showing right now, I threw these up at Shamo Bay, and if it wouldn't have been for that jig head, I would have went through so many more baits. It wasn't even funny.
Well, you know, I mean, we all love the Kitech line of swim baits.
Yeah.
And we all hate the fact that when we're having a great day of fishing, we go through a bunch of them. I don't know how bad we really hate it. Like,
Wow.
You know, I consider it a badge of honor.
We hate it at the end of the day when we're picking up all the pieces. Like
I don't. In other words, when I come back at the end of the day and there's just this mound of baits just broken down to the atomic level on the floor of the boat, I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'll gladly go buy a couple.
The only
more
problem with
packs.
that jig head, George, is like rigging it up.
Demonstration time.
Yeah. Let's see.
I got a 2-step process for you.
And by the way, he's put one of my favorite swim baits on there.
Yeah, I had this laying at my desk. This is a Little Dipper and Bullfrog. And I know you might think that we're like all sponsored up by Reaction, but we're not.
We're not. We're not at all.
We just love their baits.
We do. We catch a shit ton of fish on them.
Step one.
Step one.
The measuring phase. So take your bait and place it where it's going to end up. Okay? Now, I want you to come back here and see where that hook starts to. You can kind of visualize where you want that hook to come out of that bait so it's nice and straight, right? So kind of keep that spot in mind.
Step two.
Step two, insert hook.
Come on, you didn't say it. Say it as good.
Thread it on back there until you get to that spot. And word of advice, always go a little bit farther than you think. Maybe another 16th of an inch.
Yeah, no more.
Okay, now we have to get this up on the keeper, right? So you're just going to twist it up on there.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, this is easy.
We got a problem, bro. It's
This is
hitting
easy.
the hook point.
Look at that. I mean, come
twist. Oh, no, it's hitting the point again, George.
on,
It's all twisted up.
We're going to go a little farther.
Twisted it all up.
Look. Oh, my.
Ah.
Right?
I don't know. Oh, there it is again. So you just flip it over that hook as you go. Take your time.
And I'm going to say this.
Yeah.
If you can't figure that out, then don't buy these jig heads because it's not for you. Now, I like the way Paul Batter says to measure it on the side of the body because you're kind of taking into consideration the depth. To each your own. Great call, though. Look at that.
You can go one more turn more on that, can you?
I care not to.
Really?
That's the way I like it. Now,
in case you catch a fish, you can go more on it?
I can give you a jig head and a bait, and then you can rig it the way you like.
I don't like rigging those up. I always struggle with it.
This is how I like to rig it.
I'm just saying I always struggle with it. Now watching you do
This is my jig head and my bait.
I kind of like it.
And it's America, so I can pretty much rig it the way I want.
That's right.
So that's the VMC hybrid swim bait head. Of course, you know, the VMC pro staff has made this head famous, like big time. Wheeler and his freeloader and this jig head, you know, made like $200,000.
Yeah.
But at any rate, that is a great little jig head. And, you know, I felt as though it was time to like bring it back up.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, I think with the time of the year and there's so many jig heads that people are talking about right now, and you don't see them with the spring on them too often. So this is a great one. And plus it's a great head. It's a great hook.
Well, and not only that, there's not a lot of jig heads out there that go from the different sizes that
all the way up through.
All the way up to 12.
Yeah, I mean, you got 3/16, you got quarter, you got 5/6. 5/16 is a pretty odd ball jig head weight. You know, but if you're fishing some deeper water, it's windy, you're going to appreciate that. Of course, 3/8 and half. And, you know, we're all bass focused, but I'll tell you a segment of our fishing world that uses these a lot is walleye fishermen. They love them.
Oh,
okay. So that's
yeah, for sure.
That's where that kind of comes into play.
Yeah.
It's a quality black nickel hook. You can resharpen it. I've touched it up with the file real easily.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a VMC, you know, quality hook. So that's the cool thing about Rapala, you know, owning VMC. They put VMC hooks on everything. So you're getting a quality product, and the price isn't bad, really. If you think about it, it's $449 for, you know, a 4-pack on those smaller sizes, a 3-pack on those bigger sizes. Not bad at all.
No, it's not. It's good. It's good head.
Got a question on here about a weedless swim bait head. It's going to depend on the size of the swim bait, but I have 2 for you to look at that I do very well with. One is a little obscure head from Eagle Claw, and it's called a Pro V weedless jig head. It's got the Pro V laser sharp hook in it and a wire weed guard very similar to the SFT tube head.
Yeah.
Great head for a smaller finesse swim bait like we just demonstrated. You'll find it's a little limited on sizes, and they're all painted. So, you know, we carry them in black and white. They don't offer a plain option. The other one that is an absolute fantastic swim bait head is the Strike King Squadron Head weedless. That conical keeper on there is spectacular. It's got a fiber weed guard.
Mm-hmm.
You can thin it out or leave it at its standard thickness.
Yeah.
Great swim bait head. Great hook. And I've used them quite a bit myself, from, you know, 1/8 to 3/4. So there's a couple great options for you in the weedless world, because they do come in handy sometimes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Last thing I got, I'm just going to touch on this and we're going to roll.
Yeah.
Resupplied on Q-bombs. We sell a stupid amount of G-Crack Q-bombs. Why? They catch fish.
They catch fish.
Resupplied, we have a couple different colors in stock, a couple different sizes in stock. We have some more coming in real quick here. So you'll see some more loading up in the next few days. Yeah.
Good.
And that, boys, as they say, is your tackle talk for October 24th.
Right on.
What do you think?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I know Nick's got something that's burning in his head.
Oh, no.
I love it, George. I love it, brother. All right, Nick.
Very good stuff.
Well, you know, it kind of is pushing us into another segment of our show that we love to talk about, and that's a technique. And, you know, it's a fall. The guys have been out there. They've been fishing. The weather has been pretty stable in our area. We had some cold nights a week or so ago, and the temperature has dropped. And we've noticed a little change in the fish. The fish, you know, went from kind of schooling up to these little small little things going around there, you know, little wolf packs, 2 or 3 fish, to we got some wolf packs. You know, the things are starting to happen. So and the water temperature kind of starts to get into that range where this next technique we're going to talk about really starts to shine. And it's actually, as far as George and I goes, it's one of the best and favorite ways that we like to catch fish. And if we can ever get it going, you know, when we can get it going and we try it, and once we get it going, we stick with it for a long period of time. And that's where we're going to go next on our next topic. which is going to be our technique talk, which is kind of new for me introducing that way. Technique talk. That was new, so I brought the original music in. But George,
I mean, let's address the elephant in the room. You know
what?
The producer angle of this show. So
what?
I mean, we have great content. Okay, we have,
but always when we do our technique, it always flows in from
right. It does
from,
it
and I never get to introduce it.
Well,
so
I mean,
wanted to introduce it in a little different way, a little different.
You know, just blasting.
You make me happy, I feel so fine.
Just, you know, blowing up the freaking boombox on the.
I like that song.
On the street corner is going to piss off the neighbors. So we need you to come in soft, boom, and then ease on out.
Okay.
Or not. Yeah. Well, anyways, Mike's producing aside, which, you know, and God love him. He does try awful hard.
You don't see him on the board.
Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
So anyway, you know, jerkbait fishing is our topic tonight for our technique, and it's a love of mine. I just absolutely love jerkbait fishing. I always talk about it on our little short clips that we do on our Instagram and on our TikTok and a lot of our social media, because I really feel like it is a technique that you can fish and not have any success with it, and you can fish and have a lot of success with it. And some of these things we're going to talk about tonight, hopefully will give you that lot of success with the baits, not only the baits, but the technique itself. So what do you think, George? What do you got about fishing the jerkbait?
A lot.
A lot. It is a lot.
So, you know, traditionally speaking, we pigeonhole the jerkbait as a pre-spawn bait and a fall bait.
Yeah.
And they're rightfully so. They excel in those conditions.
Yeah.
Especially if your pre-spawn, especially if your body of water, it doesn't get blown out, because they're not much of a dirty water bait, but
right.
Tremendous pre-spawn bait. You know, gentlemen, I was asking about wake baits in Florida.
Yeah.
Well, we had a lot of fun discussing that. But do you know the versatility of the jerkbait is that one of the deadliest pre-spawn techniques in Florida?
Yeah.
Is a jerkbait.
Yeah.
I mean, just like come unhinged, deadly.
I'm so glad you said that, because I found out the hard way. Because when you go down to Florida, what you said, the pre-spawn, and you go down there, it doesn't feel like it's pre-spawn down
No.
there. So your brain's telling you, even though you're going down there, it makes sense, it can't be. And you know, you want to be doing all the things you think you should be doing down in Florida. And realistically, they're not much different than what we're doing up here in the pre-spawn.
Right.
Now,
a lot of, that's weird, isn't it?
I got my butt kicked on that jerkbait because I didn't know that.
And a lot of what you're saying is angler interpretation. You know, we carry with us what we've learned in our territory when we travel. That, you know, if we had them Men in Black pens, we would catch way more fish, because the jerkbait's a prime tool for that. So, you know, just exactly what you said. You wouldn't even think of the jerkbait. Well, that is what the jerkbait's all about. So, you know, with the different sizes of jerkbaits, and there's a couple, I'm going to spin off in a couple direction here with you guys, and I'm dying to hear your take, because we didn't share any of this ahead of time.
We didn't.
Pre-production, we didn't go down this path.
We didn't. No.
No. So, like, water temperature, pre-spawn, water temperature, fall. Critical for determining the type of jerkbait that we use. And pre-spawn and fall are so much alike from a cold front perspective. So, you know, a typical 110 style jerkbait we're just going to call this the standard. Okay. This is the standard. I don't care whose you use. You can use a 3-hook, 300 KVD. You can use, one of my favorites, which is the World Minnow from Shimano. You can use one of our up-and-coming popular baits here at the shop, which is the PXR from Rapala. Whatever. There's 20 other brands out here. Whatever you like.
Lucky Craft 100.
Yeah, exactly.
My favorite.
The point is, this is kind of your standard. Well, when you get a sharp cold front in pre-spawn, and again, Florida, one of the best times I ever made a bait work was on the Potomac River, for God's sakes. Dirty water. Pre-spawn. Downsize. Right? So I want to talk about a couple things here. I want to talk about the size of the bait. I want to talk about the size of the lip. But here's a junior. And keep in mind, every bait that I use as a demonstrator here, I didn't feel like carrying 57 baits up here for the show tonight because I got to put them all away tomorrow. But every brand makes this in their own way. So your junior, smaller profile, you get a severe cold front pre-spawn, game changer. You get a severe cold front fall, game changer. Okay, you can dead stick this under adverse conditions and get bit. It's just hanging there. Dead sticking is a cold front equalizer. You get a severe cold front, shut your fish down. You're around fish. Get on that jerkbait and practice the dead stick technique. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Now, before we get into techniques and all that fun stuff, let's talk about something else here. And that is the deeper lip. So obviously Megabass is famous for their 110 plus 1, their 110 junior plus 1. One of the best in the business is the Shimano World Minnow, only in the diver version, which they call the World Diver. So again,
that bait right there is incredible, Nick. The World Diver.
300D.
Yeah.
Now I can get this one down real deep because it's slow sinker. And again, pick your favorite brand, on and on and on and on and on. But the important thing to know here is this diver for 2 reasons. And I'm about to bust it loose for you. One, severe cold fronts, deeper water, those fish will suspend a little deeper. You got to get down to them, but stay above them. 2, a little thing that we love to talk about because you all love it so much. It seems to be one of the most favorite things going on in the world today, forward-facing sonar. I mean, if we didn't have that, I don't even know if we'd have a show. So what I learned really quick in my forward-facing sonar journey was that I need to have 1 or 2 jerkbait rods on the front deck of my boat every single day that I'm forward-facing fishing. Now, for me, that's not all the time because I like to fish a lot of really shallow water, but for those of you who are fishing in some deeper environments, you need to have them laying there because the deal is you're going to mark fish, but they're not going to be too far out. So if you look at the dive curve of any bait, a crankbait, a jerkbait, whatever, 1/3 of the cast gets it to its maximum depth. 1/3 of the cast, it's in its maximum depth. And 1/3 of the cast, it's coming up out of its maximum depth. Well, if you have a fish that you want to fish a jerkbait on forward-facing sonar that's 40 feet out in front of your boat, and he's 6 feet deep, a regular jerkbait's not going to work for you because you're going to have to cast so far past him to get that bait down. Whereas if you go with that +1, you can cast, he's 40 feet. You can cast, 50, 55 feet and get the bait down, but yet remain above that fish. You can actually see the bait so you can control it. But the point is you get that quicker, steeper dive angle. So now we're talking, excuse me, now we're talking about forget pre-spawn, forget post-spawn, forget cold front, forget seasons. Now we're talking about forward-facing. Oh, well, if it works on forward-facing, it also works if you don't have forward-facing. That fish does not know if you have a transducer on his ass or not. So, in other words, the importance of the jerkbait basically year-round.
Yeah, I mean, the other what do you got, Nick?
Oh, I was just going to say, to go along with what George said, and I don't know if you guys agree with this or not, but when you're going to cast way out in front of them or whatever with a deeper diver jerkbait or even a regular jerkbait, don't just start jerking right away. I like to crank it down a little bit before I start to jerk. Otherwise, you screw it all up right from the start.
Yeah, I mean that's a big deal. But I think the other aspect with a deep diver is, when those fish, whether it's a cold front or just cold water, which is what we're kind of heading to now. You got aggressive fish now, so the shallower lips are going to work because you don't have to worry about how deep they go. But the colder snap cold fronts, where the fish really start hugging to the bottom, they really start hugging to the bottom, and you can start seeing this because they'll get those, brown kind of streaks in their bellies, because they're laying on the bottom. They're down there laying on the bottom. The deeper diving jerkbaits get you down to that level and puts it in front of their face. So when you're jerking it, they're not going to move too far off the bottom. This is a bait that'll get it down 7, 8 feet. These things will drop 8 feet, and you'll be able to tick the bottom in that little bit deeper water, where those fish are just laying just off the side of the drop. They're laying in the deeper part of the pocket, your pool you're fishing, or they're just pulled off of where you were catching them. They're just pulled off to the side, but they're laying on the bottom. This thing will go down 8, 9, 10 feet of water, and you can put it right in front of their face.
This one will go down wherever you want it to be.
That's the beauty of that bait. We didn't get a chance to throw that because that's new, right, George?
Fairly. This is a deep diving 300 that sinks.
Yeah.
Now, you can buy this, and it's a great jerkbait. Okay.
That's why
if you give it a pause, it'll sink. But you can also take your regular 300 deep diver and put several suspend dots on it and make it sink. So let's not get out of control.
And I think that's what's the cool for me as a jerkbait fisherman. I love jerkbait just like you guys do. What I love about forward facing more than anything with the jerkbait is I can now see what my jerkbait's doing.
Oh,
so if I throw that one out that I think gets down to 5 feet, my forward facing is going to tell me that.
Oh yeah.
So if I need to add weight to it, I can. If it starts floating up, I'll see that.
True statement.
Yeah, the sinking one, which is going to be like a big player for me this winter, early winter, late fall, early winter. George and I were fishing at this place, and
years ago.
This was years ago. We were fishing, I don't know, Vision 110s, I think at the time. We were catching a few fish.
Well, you were.
Yeah. And the bite was really super slow, but then all of a sudden I started catching them on this Vision 110. I'm like,
Biggins.
I mean, I'm catching these fish. Then I catch a walleye, like walleye like this, and then I catch another big giant bass.
Well, also we're in 12 to 15 foot of water.
Yeah.
And he keeps bringing up leaves and sticks on this thing.
Yeah. So then after I caught those fish, I start, I'm fishing along. I'm like, I just got bit. I just got bit. And I'm like, I'm not in my mind. I'm not putting together that it's 12 foot of water. There's no way I'm hitting the bottom. All of a sudden I bring up a leaf, and, but that time of year you're snagging leaves every now and then. You know how that is with the floating leaves and everything. Everywhere it has them. And I'm throwing it out there, and I feel like I'm getting bit, but here what was happening was my Vision 110 was cracked and it was filling up with water, so it was actually sinking. But before it really filled up with water and it got to that perfect, I was whacking him. I was putting a schooling on George.
It was bad.
I was schooling his ass.
Now, and the situation was this: it was water temperatures were in the high 30s.
Yeah.
Now while he was doing that, I was dragging Carolina rig style, basically an A rig.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun because I was getting snagged about every 8 seconds. But that's when we started to weight jerkbaits.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
sink.
Exactly.
And then Rapala came out
get to those depths
with the X-Wrap shad, which slowly sinks.
Yeah.
And then last year when KVD was at the shop here, he was like, just come around and look. Sharp hooks on there. And he was like, you need to throw this because this thing in cold water, cold front, cold water. So
that's another reason for a sinking bait.
It kind of resonated with us right away.
It did, honestly. It really did.
So now we have, the 2 primetime bookends of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But wait a minute. Now we're using it all the time. And as a search bait in fairly clear water, it can be deadly because you can fish this thing super aggressive in warmer temperatures. So, let's just say that your basic cadence is like twitch, twitch, pause. Twitch, twitch, pause. Or more correctly, jerk, jerk, pause. The key step 1 of the 3-step process is that bait is only going to move inches on each jerk. How do I do that? Well, keep your rod in front of you. Now, listen to me, people, because this is big deal. Chris Shoplock, I see you on there. You really need to listen to this. Pick a spot on the water and aim your rod tip at it. Use your wrist and pop that rod very aggressively and bounce back to that spot and then do it again. So I pick a spot on the water and I aim my rod tip at it. I got my arm against my side. I pop it. So I have 2 distinctively independent jerks. Now, I can do it like this. Or I can do it like this. That depends on the fish. Okay. Guy was in here asking me about first customer of the morning for me today. I'm learning my jerkbait game. It's my new thing. And I'm like, that's great. And he said, should I work the jerkbait fast or slow? Should my pauses be short or long? And I said, yes, absolutely. And he's like, are you being funny? I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't know how the fish are going to bite tomorrow, but you'll find out pretty quick. And I told, the way you learn about like a long pause is when your buddy hollers at you and you look back to talk to him. You're like, what? What are you bitching about now? And your line goes tunk. Wait a minute. Register that up here.
That's a big deal.
That fish bit on a long pause, and I have not had hardly any bites. There is absolutely no accident about that. There's nothing random about that. Now start incorporating longer pauses or vice versa. One of the best warm weather spinner or jerkbait bites I ever got on, I had to go to a 14-pound mono to steal as much depth off the bait as possible. I had to work my rod tip up, and I had to go as fast as I could possibly work it. And I was on Lake Champlain, for God's sakes. Crystal clear water. These fish were up on top of the shoals, and they were like what you would normally throw a spinnerbait or a topwater on, only that didn't work. But a jerkbait, it was sideways in their freaking mouth. So, the jerkbait, guys, is the bait that you never rule out. If you fish a full day of fishing or a partial day of fishing and you didn't throw a jerkbait, and then you start coming in here and telling me that you didn't have a good day, and I'm going to say, did you throw a jerkbait? And you say no, well, then we can't be friends anymore because you just have to throw that jerkbait every freaking day, right?
Yeah, I don't think the importance of understanding slack line jerk baiting is all about. I've guided for a lot of years, and I've taken a lot of people out. I've taken people that never knew how to fish to people that were experts, and it's amazing to me when I take people jerkbait fishing, especially from here on out, from this time of year to all the way up to when we don't throw them anymore, is they want to reel. They want to jerk and reel up because they feel like they're going to miss the bite. And that is the hardest thing to teach people. I got to the point where I started telling them, jerk, stick your hand in your pocket, stick your hand in your pocket and don't touch the reel handle. Let it stretch back out or whatever, and jerk again. The importance of the of that slack line allows that bait to do things subtly. That's very natural that you'll get more bites. And I'm telling you guys, if you don't pay attention to slack line jerk baiting and you reel after every time you jerk the bait and just let it sit there and say, oh, yeah, I'm slack line. You're not.
You got a problem.
You got to snap like George is doing and leave that slack in the line and let the currents, whether it's a wind current, whether it's a current from the river, whether it's a current from whatever kind of current that's out there, let it work its magic on the bait. Let the currents kind of twist it around a little bit and subtly, naturally create the strike.
Yeah, and you know what? Some of these jerk baits, like these, we have state-of-the-art jerk baits. I got a whole table full of them laying up here, and it's a who's who of jerk baits. But you could pop that jerk bait down, right? Like Mike's saying. And let's say there's no wind current. Let's say there's no river current. Let's say there's no current, period. That bait's still going to sit down there and kind of like
does its
tiny little roll.
It does its little thing.
Little, not really a quiver, but like it's moving. And the thing, if it's a dead stick bite, what you're doing is you're in that fish's face. Okay, they're there. Those fish. The reason a dead stick works, those fish are either trailing that bait or they're on that bait. And now you just got that thing hanging in their face, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
not up in here, Mike.
A lot of times when you're fishing, the other thing I want you guys to understand is a lot of times, and don't worry about it. Pick up one of those jerk baits. How many hooks are on them things? There's
3.
There's a shit ton of hooks on those things. So if a fish comes up and grabs it when it's dead stick and you have all that slack in your line, when you go to pull again, he's got all those hooks. He can't throw that thing. As soon as he grabs that, and as long as you pay attention to your hooks, keep them nice and sharp. When he grabs that, he's got it. So when you set the hook, you are getting, you're getting those bites. You're getting those. You're going to catch that fish. You're going to go to pull, and there's all of a sudden weight there, right, Nick?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, so George goes through these baits, and if you're a jerk bait fisherman, you have it broken down into a science with why you would throw each one, when you would throw it, and what time, like, you just know. And it's almost like if you're a jig fisherman or if you're a crankbait fisherman, you have your almost like special formula for each jerkbait you have. You have jerkbaits in your box that you won't throw unless it's certain conditions. It's weighted properly for this weight or this water temperature or that. But I'll tell you a learning lesson here. So my old man and I, we were known on a local lake for jerkbait fishermen or jerkbait fishing. And we would always burn down a bank pretty quick. And one day I'm fishing out the back and I pop, and I let it sit for a good long time and boom. Well, you would think that would tell us something. We did the opposite. We got to burn as much bank as we can. We got to make it happen. But
you didn't recognize.
We didn't recognize. And then once we did, it was like light bulb went off.
Yeah.
And it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Mike and I were fishing this spring. And it was a day that should have been spectacular, but it wasn't. right? And some friends of ours were fishing, and they were struggling. And as the day wore on, two things came apparent to me. One, I needed a bait with a chartreuse belly. Now, keep in mind, this should have been a spectacular day of fishing. We were smallmouth fishing on the Susquehanna River. Pre-spawn, we should have stroked them. We did not. So early afternoon, I said to Mike, I need a bait with a chartreuse belly on it.
Now, wait a second. Wait.
And I call that
wait just a damn minute.
I call that a triggering color, a reaction color. Okay, the water was clear. The second thing that I was thinking was I need to dead stick this bait. So I tied on we only had, believe it or not, 4 full boxes of jerk baits broken down by manufacturer, depth, it's crazy how I got these things broken down. One, under back stock under the seat. No. Digging through, like, did it fall out? Is there some laying in the bottom of this rod locker? Empty it. No. One. Throw it out, jerk it down, dead stick it, boom. Repeat, boom. Repeat, boom. Repeat, boom. Now, it took 5 hours to figure that out.
Well, it's a very curious point because,
but that's what we learned.
It's a very curious point because color's
the point here.
Color.
Color's the point here.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yep, and I love it. I love where you're going.
Color guy. You walk into a shop like this and you go in and you're like, what in the hell do you need this much tackle for? And honestly, for the majority of stuff, you don't need it. But in certain things, you need to have a little selection of colors. And jerk baits is one of those things for clear water, for sunny days, for cloudy days, for tough bites, for getting fish to bite. You're going to have a bunch of colors of jerk baits. It's just one of those things where over time you will get to the point where you'll start to gather these colors because they make a difference a lot of the times when you're jerkbait fishing. And it's crazy how you come across it. Now there's subtle colors that you don't need to have 5 different shades of. I mean, if you get close with like a ghost minnow like this one right here and a deep diver, that's good. But then you need it in a shallow diver. If you have a nice white belly shad color, then that's going to be a totally different color for you. You can see how much solider that is. That has a totally different look to it. That covers a whole nother spectrum. So the depth is as important as the color when it comes to jerk baiting. And I hate to say it, but this is one of those things where you're going to have a box full of them, and there's going to be 4 or 5 in each, 3,600. You're going to have 4 or 5 in each section because it does absolutely make a difference. And you'll get your butt kicked a couple of times because of it.
There's four things you need to know about jerkbait color. And Mike just alluded to all 4 of them. 1, you need some transparent, ghosty style colors. Generally speaking, clear water, sunny day, you want to have a color that light passes through as a starting point. A ghost type color. Let's say it's the same exact clear water, but it's a real cloudy day. Give them something that will silhouette, a painted bait, an opaque bait. Okay?
Very important.
Dingy, a little bit of dingy water, an opaque bait. Now, something that's very important to have in your assortment, a metallic bait. A highly reflective metallic bait. You always want to have something with some metallic on it.
Big time.
Okay. And then 4th, You always need an impact color. It could be orange.
Yeah.
It could be pink.
Another really good one is
chartreuse.
Yeah, and you hear it's clown. You'll hear clown a lot. There's clown for you.
So you have metallic, you have somewhat transparent, and you have impact.
Yeah.
All in one.
That color right there, especially this time of year and in the early spring, that color will absolutely
doesn't work.
One of my best ever.
Absolutely wreck them.
One of my best ever lifetime pre-spawn bites on largemouth. Actually on a tidal river. I mean, just a day that was insane. Was on a clown, pointer 78. Severe cold front. Largemouth, they don't play. Shallow water. I mean, those fish could not eat it. So I always carry clown. The other thing is color, depth. The other thing is size. And it's really critical in the colder water periods that you match the size of the prevalent bait fish. You know, we always say that when the water gets cold and the big cold front comes through in the fall, the fish will really target the bigger bait.
Yeah.
So you always want to have, like, for example, this is a 115. Just to give you a comparison, you always need to have a 128 or a 130 in your box. If you fish around bigger shad.
Yeah. So we saw that, this year. I think it was this year, maybe last year. I think it was this year at Santee Cooper with Palaniuk throwing in pre-spawn spawning conditions. He was matching the hatch, and what he was matching was that great big giant jerkbait to the bait that those fish were eating. He didn't catch a lot of fish on it, but he caught some big quality fish.
Yeah, when they're eating big bait,
George and I
fish a big bait.
So one of the things George and I do, and I maybe me more than George, but I'm a timing kind of guy. When I start throwing those really big baits, the trees, I always look at the trees, and it's always been paid attention to me, or it always paid off for me. And if you look at those trees and you start seeing half to 3/4 of the leaves fall that are off of them, your temperatures are at the point where those big baits are going to really start shining for you. The big giant jerkbait, the more of the dead sticking style of baits fishing starts to happen, then things start slowing up. But you want big baits, you want dead sticking techniques kind of kicking off a little bit, and the jerkbait is in full bloom. I mean, absolutely full bloom. You're going to be catching fish like you never caught before. Yeah, you might have to dead stick it a little bit more and have your pauses and your slack lines a little bit for a longer period of time. But I'm telling you right now, pay attention to the temperatures and pay attention to the time frames. And that's when those leaves are half or 3/4 off, I start throwing those big giant jerk baits. That's when they start working.
Gentlemen, we talked like when, where, how, what.
Baits. Yep.
But what are we fishing these with? Because I think, I'm a big one that always talk about, like, Swiss Army knife of a fishing rod, multi-purpose fishing rod. I feel like in the jerkbait world, we're fishing a little more of a specific rod. So what I'd like to do is ask your guys' opinion of rod, gear ratio, and line, for jerkbait fishing, because not every technique that we do is a generic type of rod. Like, for example, punching,
right?
Frogging.
Yeah.
Well, I feel as though jerkbaiting falls in that.
Yeah.
A lot. And also keep in mind, now here's something I want, like, everybody in the audience, and there's a lot of people logged on right now. I want to see everybody in the audience keep this in mind. We've said this on this show a lot, and it's a mantra that we live by. You can build a technique around the tackle. So if you're a little more comfortable with something a couple inches longer or a couple inches shorter or one action heavier or one action lighter or a different blank material makeup, that's cool.
It's on you, buddy.
Because you're building your style around that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm down with that.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with it too.
And you'll get really good with that. So
yeah,
let's pop around. I'm going to start off for you guys. And I saw some comments on here, questions about rods earlier. One gentleman asked, is a 610 medium heavy X Pride a suitable jerkbait rod? And I'd like to take that because I know Mike and I are very similar minded on this. Medium heavy, fast, all day long. Again, building a technique around the rod. So I'm gonna do my deal's gonna be three things. Cold clear water, I'm gonna fish a 10-pound fluorocarbon. In the warmer months, where I'm more interested in a reaction strike, I'm gonna go to a heavier fluorocarbon, maybe a 12 or even a 14. When I'm scoping, I'm gonna have that 10 on, because I know the depths of my baits on 10. Gear ratio is going to be high, 7.2 or 8, because all you're doing is picking up slack. So for me, I'm a 6.6, medium heavy, fast, spoken on and on and on and on and on about the 783 MBR Loomis. But whatever your favorite brand is, if that's where you want to be, I'm sure they have a rod fairly close to that. That's how I look at it. Line, reel, and rod are a system. Nick, what are you thinking?
Okay, so I got two rods. I like the Mojo or the Victory St. Croix jerkbait rod, 6'8", which actually works out really good for me too, because I'm not the tallest guy in the world. But great action for me. Now, I will say the Victory is the sensitivity is just crazy in that rod.
Yeah.
You will see a difference with how the Victory and the Mojo feel. But, you know, I like the 7. I'm going to use an 8-to-1 gear ratio. That's what I'm going to use. And then as far as line, I'm going with either the Mastiff or I'm going to go shooter in 10-pound. That's where I like to be. I will adjust my depth with different jerk baits. And that's how I build my arsenal.
I like it. I love it.
With that. And I'm telling you right now, people, if you're not on your jerk bait game, you better, because this thing has been a mainstay for all three of us and many others who have done well.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's a deal.
No doubt about it.
One thing I'll add to your setup, Nick, it's interesting. Back in the original Mojo days, when they first launched Mojo, they set the best rod world on its tail because they were like $100 rod of this quality. Well, they built a 6.8 medium extra fast. Now, normally speaking, I'm a fast taper guy, and I would not fish an extra fast rod for a hard bait application. But I learned something with that rod. Their extra fast 6.8 medium is a phenomenal jerkbait rod. And in fact, here at the shop, we sold so many of the first generation of 6.8 medium extra fast that one day we were in here working, and one of the brothers who owns St. Croix, he was the president actually, called up and he goes, "What in the hell is going on out there with you guys? Like, I know you guys like this rod, but how is it that one SKU that you're selling this unbelievable volume of that one SKU?" I'm like, well, if you could keep us in stock, we'd sell more of them. It's a phenomenal jerkbait rod. It's our prime jerkbait season locally here, and we're in the middle of an epic jerkbait bite. So it's a perfect storm. And that's when I learned not all extra fast rods are not suitable for hard baits.
Well, I will tell you something.
And the rods you mentioned, they're spectacular.
Well, and I'll tell you another thing I like to do with both those rods I just mentioned is in the summertime, when I'm not jerk baiting as much, I'll take one of them. I'll put a bait caster with braid on, 50-pound braid, and I use it for my top water baits.
Popper.
I just do, you know, smaller walking baits, popper baits, you know, it really works. And I do want to answer something. I seen Paul Batters. Oh, you got that one?
I got that.
Because remember, mine was a little different. So you're going to be different.
I got that.
I'm changing with the baits, not the line.
First of all, Paul Batters, I am not going to go fishing with you because I do not want to show you what I'm going to talk about right now. I'm even holding back from dropping this knowledge bomb on these two knuckleheads because let me tell you something about jerkbait fishing, my friend. Line is everything with jerkbait fishing.
True that.
And if you think 12 and 14 pound fluorocarbon is not a cold water line, you are mistaken, my friend, because fluorocarbon is a sinking line and you can get certain depths out of a bait with a sinking line like fluorocarbon with heavier monofilament or with heavier diameter. So 12 pounds sinks a little bit deeper, 14 pounds will sink a little different. Only when you're talking slack line jerkbait. You understand that, Nick?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm dropping some knowledge bombs on you, Nick. Might make you a tad bit better fisherman on this.
He's going like Hulk Hogan over here.
Paul Batters, this is going to help you because a lot of guys like my brother, he goes to a 10 pound in the cold water because he wants to try to get that bait deeper with the lip. And what I do, I sneak behind him, right? I come in behind him. See, I sneak in around
stealth mode.
I stealth mode right around him, and I'm packing 12 and 14 on there. And my line now the bend of my line isn't like this. It's like this. This is bend of my line to that bait. You see the difference?
Oh yeah.
So now I'm pulling that thing like this. I'm not pulling it up. I'm pulling it more level to the bottom at a deeper depth. And that's why I school my brother so many times when we're out fishing and we're whacking and I'm whacking him like crazy. He's going, "What are you doing?" I don't speak it. I told it today. It's going to kill me now.
George, switch his rods up next time.
But I'm just kidding with you guys. That's the truth.
Out of control.
Line diameter does hold your line or can hold your bait up when you're working it fast. But when you're working it real slow in the cold water and you're dead sticking, you're allowing that line to come off of your time out, bro. I'm dropping the knowledge bombs.
I got it, man.
And this comes down like this. It comes off of your rod and goes down and it gets level like that. Gives you a totally different dimension. Pulls the bait more level with the bottom. You're in the strike zone for a longer period of time and you're going to catch some fish. And that's what I wanted to say about
I love it.
Blindside. Paul Batters. Paul Batters, you're welcome, my friend.
Well,
I love it.
I got a little knowledge bomb for you that, you know, everybody uses the jerkbait a little bit different.
Yeah.
Okay. And I figured this out a little bit ago. You got the Mega Bass and let's say the Strike King you got up here. And now both of them come through the water completely different. And what I took notice for me is if I use the Mega Bass, I cannot overwork the bait or I'll foul it because I tend to jerk the bait a little too hard sometimes. Whereas the Strike King's a little bit wider, you can jerk it a little bit harder and you won't work the bait, which is funny because if you look at the guy that designs the bait, if you watch him throw a jerk bait on it. So, you know, just keep that in mind with these different baits.
Well, baits are as critical as all this. You know, George and I fish the same exact rod, so that's why I didn't talk about rods and reels. That's just what we do. But baits, I'm just telling you, there's the Strike King, there's the Mega Bass, there's the Lucky Craft, there's Rapala, there's all these baits, and I'm telling you, there's a difference between all of them, and there's a time and a place for all of them. You don't need to have a million different baits, but you need to have some variations. Don't be afraid of colors. Don't be afraid of adding that box and boxing it up because there's a time and a place for colors, and there's a time and a place for different wobbles, which is what Nick's saying. There's a different wobble thing. I mean, we can get into this like to where it's sick. It's absolutely
it
sick.
gets in
We can get really sick about it. I don't think we want to go there, but what I think we gave tonight, George, with the points that we gave tonight, the baits and how we fish them, the slackline technique, the colors, the size, the pre-spawn, the spawn, the fall, the winter. I think
the power of this bait
and the power of that bait.
The power of this bait on forward-facing sonar.
The power of this bait on forward-facing sonar. The time, the jerkbait used to be a spring and a fall thing. It is a year-round bait. Let's
master it.
Master it. Let's mess around with it. Figure it out. And don't forget, guys, slackline jerkbaiting means slackline. Do not reel your bait tight between each jerk. It just doesn't work. Okay. Slackline, learn slackline jerkbaiting. If you guys have any questions with it, you can come in the shop here or call us and we will explain that a little bit closer. And yeah. Anything else, George?
Well, I'll tell you what, boys. That's going to be it for me tonight. It's been a great show. I look forward to this show all week. And tomorrow morning I'm gonna start prepping up for next week's show. I really enjoy doing it. Love working with you guys.
Yeah.
It's an honor to work with the both of you guys here. And next week, who knows where our journey's going to take us? But it's going to be fun.
Fast and furious.
It's going to be fun.
Fast and furious.
It's going to be some knowledge. And who knows where else we might go? And you know what?
We don't know. Comes to us.
You know what?
Comes to us.
We'll see what happens.
Yep, absolutely.
In the meantime,
absolutely, guys. We thank you so much. Appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next Tackle Shop Live.
I met you on a sunny day. Right there, you took my breath away. Young and pretty, you wasn't just a dream. The next day, you called me up. You told me I'm your little buttercup. You came over and you fell into my arms. Well, I know what I feel. Please tell me your love is real. You make me smile when I think of you. If I am down, oh, and I am blue, I can't get enough. You make me happy, I feel so fine. Oh, how I wish that you were mine. I can't get enough. I woke up all soaked in sweat, with chills running down my neck. I'm going crazy from just the thought of you. A long blonde hair.